Welcome back to another episode of Firearm Safety and Familiarization. Today we're going to be talking about striker fires. I'm Dave Mollison.
And I'm Doug Mollison, and we want to remind you that this is in no way a replacement for professional training by a qualified firearms instructor. In order to safely handle any firearm, the first thing we're going to do is open the action to verify that it's clear of any ammunition. On a semi-auto like this Glock, we're going to manipulate the magazine release by pushing the button in and then removing the magazine. Now push the slide to the rear and move the slide stop up into place. Now you can visually inspect the chamber to verify that it's clear of any ammunition. Now we're going to identify the parts of this handgun. Here's our barrel, slide, frame, grip, trigger, trigger guard, magazine release, slide release, takedown lever, front sight, rear sight, and magazine. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, today we're talking about striker-fired pistols. As you can see on this Glock, there's no external hammer. In fact, striker-fired pistols do not have a hammer. Instead, they have what is essentially a spring-loaded firing pin. This spring-loaded firing pin, or striker, engages with the trigger mechanism and on some models is held in a partially cocked position until the trigger is pulled. As the trigger is pulled all the way to the rear, the trigger mechanism simultaneously disengages the firing pin block safety while fully cocking the striker just before discharge. One of the advantages to a striker-fired pistol is the consistent trigger pull, meaning that the length of pull and the trigger weight is the exact same each time you pull the trigger. As you can see, this firearm is unloaded. One of the disadvantages is that on some models like this Glock, the trigger doesn't reset until the action is cycled. This can make practicing your trigger pull tedious, but with that being said, it provides the perfect opportunity to practice clearing malfunctions at the same time you're practicing your trigger pull. Here we have some snap caps. These are dummy rounds machined from solid aluminum. They have a hard rubber primer to help protect the firing pin when practicing your trigger pull. They're also effective when practicing clearing malfunctions and loading and unloading. I'll leave a product link in the description below. In order to load a semi-auto, the first thing we have to do is load the magazine. In order to load the magazine, we're going to push the round down on the magazine follower and slide the round all the way to the rear. Then, with your opposite hand, apply some pressure to the back of that round and then repeat until the magazine is full. This gets a lot easier with practice. Now that your magazine is fully loaded, I'll show you how to unload the magazine. Simply push the round out to the front. Until it's empty. Now that we have a loaded magazine, we can load our handgun. Simply insert the magazine until it locks in place. Now, you'll either use a slide release to drop the slide or cycle the slide by hand to load the round into the chamber. In order to safely unload a semi-automatic handgun, the first thing we're going to do while keeping the firearm pointed in a safe direction is depress the magazine release button. Now remove the magazine. Now we need to remove the round that's in the chamber by cycling the slide while keeping our hands away from the muzzle. Now lock the slide open and check the chamber to make sure that it's clear of any ammunition. The first safety we're going to talk about is the trigger safety. This Glock has an aftermarket trigger that works in the exact same way as the factory trigger. Here the trigger safety is red in color. This makes it perfect for showing you how this type of safety works. As you can see on the back side of the trigger safety rests against the frame. This prevents the trigger from being able to move to the rear unless the trigger safety on the front side of the trigger is depressed. This type of safety has gained in popularity over the years and can now be found on many types of semi-auto handguns, including those that are not striker fired. Now we're going to talk about the firing pin block safety. A firing pin block safety prevents the firing pin, or in this case the striker, from moving to its forwardmost position until it is disengaged by the trigger mechanism. This type of safety, when functioning as intended, is always on until the trigger is at or near its rearmost position. Once disengaged, the striker is free to move forward and make contact with the primer. Now I'm going to demonstrate how a firing pin block safety works. Here is the firing pin block safety located in the slide. It's spring-loaded and interacts with the trigger mechanism when the trigger is near or at its rearmost position. Here is the striker, or the part of the striker that interfaces with the trigger mechanism. As you can see, I cannot push the striker forward. That's because the firing pin block safety is active. Now I'm going to remove the barrel so you can see how a firing pin block safety works. As you can see here, there's no firing pin protrusion. This means that the safety is active. The striker is engaged with the firing pin block safety and cannot move any farther forward. The striker is only free to move forward once the firing pin block safety has been disengaged by the trigger mechanism. In this case, the firing pin block safety is pushed up into the slide, and that allows the striker to move forward, and now we can see firing pin protrusion.
Also, real quick, we just wanted to reiterate the fundamental rules of firearm safety.
Treat every firearm as if it's loaded at all times. Never point a firearm at anything you're not willing to destroy. Know your target and what's beyond. And keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot.
Well, that's about it. If you like this video, help us out by hitting that like, subscribe, and share button.
And don't forget to leave a comment and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified each time we release a new video.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Have a great day.